Alright, game 2 of this MTT matchup. We have King of Pythons, who's going to be going up against Freeman. So, different enemies on this map in this game than we had the last game. And of course, we have Yaay versus Stigma on the top side. Be interesting to see how this goes. Warlock versus Warp Spider XII.
Adding support structure. An ally has secured a power node.
Pretty standard capping so far. Warp Spider XII teleporting in aggressively to try to put some pressure on this Stigma, but I don't think it's worth it. He's taking a lot of damage, and a lot of Stigma's forces are already there in the field, and he's going to be forced off pretty soon. I'm actually surprised that the Warlock didn't keep going for him, as the jump into action ability would have knocked him over, unless if he had already used that already in the first engagement. Bottom side, we have more Warlock action, this time though against the Imperial Guard, and King of Pythons is going to be forced off. I actually don't know if I've seen King of Pythons play too much Eldar, so I don't exactly know how good he is with them. But he did buy Banshees, and Banshees really not what you want against Imperial Guard, as all of the Imperial Guard units in Tier 1, apart from the Sentinel, which has its health ability, is just regular infantry, I believe, and so they're not going to do quite so much damage. However, top side we have not a complete mirror. I guess Yaay electing to go straight for a Shuriken Cannon instead of a second Dire Avenger Squad. We'll see how that goes for him. But this Warp Spider X are getting really low. Being mindful to keep him alive. No War Gear upgrades for the Lord Commissar. There we see the execution ability, which allows the guardsmen to get back into the action here. And this Lord Commissar's got to be careful here. The Banshees are going to do a number on him. If he continues, yeah, there he goes. Retreats out of that and should be fine. Just wanted to tie up that heavy weapons team a little bit more. And King of Pythons going for double shurikens, which is something I see a lot when I fight Eldar. But if Freeman gets catechins, he'll be able to deal with one of the shurikens, and he'll probably elect to go with spotters, I imagine, once he sees the second shuriken cannon on the field. But we will see. King of Python's hero going down there to catechins. No, I imagine that they forced melee on him when he was trying to retreat away. Beautiful grenade, retreat grenade there. Oh, but this heavy weapons team is, it goes down. A beautiful grenade from Stigma on a low health platform there, spelling the end of the heavy weapons team for Yaay. Yaay electing to repurchase the Shuriken Cannon, which is probably a good decision. You're going to need something to deal with the Eldar forces on this bottom, and the Banshees, in fact, running in on your forces, completely devastating them. So this map, being a little bit more of a balanced map for power, I think, might actually see a better game from these guys, maybe a game that lasts a little bit longer than last game. At least that's my hope. And here we have Banshees versus Banshees, but Yaay's Banshees choosing not to engage there, and then they will be forced away. Will Stigma's branches be able to get into combat? It does not look like they're going to. They're going to take a lot of damage there. And we're going to see a retreat grenade as well. Will it be effective? In fact, it's not a retreat grenade. It is just a grenade onto their heavy weapons team. Probably would have been better to try to get that retreat grenade instead of the heavy weapon team grenade, since you're not going to gain back control of this contested VP. Warlock going it down again for King of Pythons. Not being able to use these double shurikens to the best of their ability, it seems. Freeman asking if he needs to come support Yaay. Yaay is confident that he is able to deal with this. Should probably use his hero in an aggressive way, but looks like he is spending all his energy on the heavy gauge death spinner in order to knock this heavy weapons team off of their setup. King of Pythons is, in spite of losing his hero, oh my gosh, these Dire Avengers getting so low. And in fact, they will go down as well. Just things are not looking too good for King of Pythons right now, even though he has put some pressure on this natural power. It's really not doing too much for him at this point, since he's losing his hero, losing his units. How much longer will he be able to sustain holding his own VP? But here we see Stigma coming in for the revive. Will this hero be able to do anything? Will the Sentinel go down? Not likely with all that heals or repair support. But it will live, and Freeman is pushed off temporarily. We'll see how King tries to recover, but at this point in time, things are not looking good for blue team again. King has lost a lot. He's spending a lot in buying new units. And in fact, he will be out-teched here pretty soon. Looks like Freeman is making up excuses for retreating, saying that there were two heroes.
What do you require?
But he is Imperial Guard. Imperial Guard do not retreat. Kind of a null in the action right now. Yaay putting on some pressure onto their natural power on the top side, while Freeman and King kind of have a standoff. But it looks like Freeman is going to come in here and try to persuade King to retreat his forces. We'll see how that goes. Actually, Yaay doing some good things with a lower amount of units. You would think that Stigma would be able to have his way with the top side, but things are not exactly going that way. And here we have the push from Freeman. It appears that he is making a liberal use of this flare ability, which is going to be able to deal with these double shurikens quite easily, significantly reducing their range of those affected squads. And it has quite a large radius of influence too, that flare does. Blue team going to lose their power here, and things are not looking good at all for blue team. In fact, I missed this, but Stigma lost his hero. I think Banshees were over here. Banshees probably had something to do with that. Dire Avenger's going to throw a grenade right after that shield is busted. Is it going to? Oh, it is not enough to destroy it, but it does quite a bit of damage to it and leaves it on 2 out of 4 units. King of Python trying to come in for a flank somehow. He must have gone around this middle area here to do that, but not being very effective. It looks like he was trying to take out some power with the Banshees, which is not the best use of Banshees, but they can do a decent job on power. But now we have Wraithguard on the field, and Stigma has Banshees to deal with it, but if the Banshees are forced off, he's going to not be able to deal with this very well at all. I guess the Warlock can also time him up. But with the new meta of Wraith Lord, Wraithguard just being able to walk and fire at the same time, they can do some damage even if something is like a commander is trying to tie them up. However, they were getting a little bit too close to the Shuriken Cannon, and EA decides to pull them back, which is probably a good idea. They're sitting in a pretty good position. They don't really need to push their advantage too much. Wraithguard for King of Pythons as well, and this is going to, oh man, these Catachan Devils getting down to 50 health here. They will get away. Freeman though now losing his hero, and could this be the pushback that we've been waiting for? In spite of not having power on this bottom side for quite some time, it looks like they are starting to make their way back into this game. Banshees again coming down here with the power, trying to decap it in fact, and actually getting some friendly fire from these Wraithguard. Kind of humorous, but now Yaay's Banshees coming down here to tie up the Shuriken Cannon of King of Pythons. King of Pythons actually able to get a decap on their natural requisition, or the natural, what's it called? Having a brain part here. Victory points, that's what it is. An emulator put down, doing a lot of damage to Imperial Guard forces if placed correctly. DP's looking pretty even right now. In fact, somehow blue team have a double cap on the red team. This game might actually go on a bit longer than I had anticipated. Does Freeman actually have enough for more flares? It looks like he does. I'm not actually sure how much flares cost. I imagine they're not 100 and above. Probably 100 red, I would imagine. Yaay anticipating this grenade on the heavy weapon team, and he pulls it back. Which is actually pretty hard to do because the grenade generally is going to come down faster than you can unsub your team. So he had a lot of anticipation for that apparently. These Wraithguard nearly tiered, or nearly level 2, being able to do a really good job for King of Pythons, getting him back into this game. Wow, that unreliable on the Catachan Devils, executed Catachan Devils, doing a heck of a lot of damage to the Scarce and heavy weapon team. And these Wraithguard taking a lot of damage, a lot of losses here. Will this be the end of King of Python's ability to hold now that, well, actually Freeman doesn't have any new units for King of Python to deal with. In fact, King of Python has a lot more units than he used to have, so it's going to be an interesting game. Freeman again offering his support to Yaay, who hasn't really had control of this contested victory point for quite some time, I don't think. Oh man, special attack from the Wraith Lord really puts a hurting on units. Oh then King of Python's Warlock is going to go down again. In fact, he does. He bites the dust. It's not good. It's deep into enemy territory, and I doubt he's going to be able to get a res like he did the last time. So he's going to have to dish up 250 requisition to purchase back that hero. But yeah, oh, his Bright Lance Heavy Weapon team that goes down to the Artok. So things suddenly turning into blue team's favor, just in spite of not having power, in spite of heavy losses from King of Python. Red team saying that they are splitting their forces in a way that they are unable to determine who is who, but really, for the most part, they are sticking with their own sides. King of Python's now going to get doubled, abandoning his side, which is probably a good decision at this point, since he has no power capped. They can eventually try to make their way up, and I was going to say put some pressure on their power, but in fact they don't have any power built on their side. Double emulator from the blue team, and that's going to put a massive hurting and big area of effect for red team's forces, but things, blue team is going to have to make a really big mistake. Oh, these grenades, oh, those grenades. In fact, only taking out one model, giving him +3 red. I thought that was going to be a heck of a lot better. But as I was saying, blue team's really going to have to make a big mistake for the red team to come back into this game. And with things going the way they are now, I just don't see that happening. They, however, do need to build their power back up in order to get some nice things out in Tier 3. I think an Avatar would be absolutely devastating, or even probably more likely to see, what is that unit called? Why can I not think of the name? The D-Cannon. D-Cannon would be very good on this side, as you can just set it up on the sledge, shoot long distances, and be able to hold contested victory points with it too. Really missing an opportunity, I think, blue team is by not rebuilding their power here. And they have the requisition to do so. Oh no, Yaay forgetting about his dire vengeance, and they will go down. And his Warp Spire squad taking a lot of losses too, losing 2 models, and those things are not cheap to reinforce. Banshee's unable to take Banshee models. Here we just see the blue team has so much map control on this top portion of the map. And yeah, the bottom is more important as far as victory points are concerned, but blue team are going to be able to respond quickly to the decapping of their natural victory point. Let's see, what level are these Banshees? Level 3 Banshees, and level 3 Banshees really doing a good job for blue team. And here I thought that they were going to struggle against Imperial Guard. In fact, these Banshees coming in for the flank, are these Guardsmen going to go down? They do go down. And this Sentinel is now in trouble too. And it looks like Catchins are going to get away. Yes, they are. Barely though. Freeman calling out 2. Currently a 1-to-1 cap, so it's still anybody's game. It's not as though red team don't have an army to deal with some of this stuff, but blue team's just so far ahead in tech, so far ahead in other units. We're probably going to see a game 3. Unfortunately, I'm not used to talking this much. That must have been the bionic eye on the Lord Commissar. Yes, he does have it, which make these catechins crazy, crazy dangerous. But they do need to run away now that the Banshees are on the field. And yeah, as we've seen before, red team just really struggling to make their way back into this game. In spite of having greater forces, greater map control, blue team kind of missing the opportunity to put as much pressure on these victory points as they could. Oh man, Dire Avengers now in trouble. Dire Avengers from Stigma, I guess it was, going down. At least I think it was Stigma, yeah. He is on this side, so that would be natural. And also losing its heavy weapon team, that is not good. Kind of trying to support bottom and have a presence top at the same time is not really working out too well for him. But he is going to recover with Seer Council, which, seeing as how there's no Fire Prism on the field, is probably going to be a good choice, I think. Freeman just kind of meandering into a emulator there, and not too worried about it, I guess. Bionic Eye, I think, replenishes the health of the squad. Now we see a massive, massive battle here on the bottom side. Whose D-cannon is this? This is Stigma's D-cannon. Looks like he's going to only catch friendlies with his attempt at a, what do they call it there? I forget what the actual ability is called. I'm having a brain fart this game. Stigma finally coming to the top to capture that contested victory point, and Freeman looks like he is going to be forced off the game completely. Manticore on the field for Freeman, which is sort of an odd choice. You'd think you'd want Ogrins to sort of deal with the Banshees, but I guess Banshees being level 3, in fact, level 3 and level 4, but level 3 and narrowly being level 4 themselves. Oh, I just caught the tail end of that. A base nuke from the Pairs. Stigma doing a real hurting on Don Freeman. This is most definitely blue team's game here. I just don't see any way of being able to come back from this. This Falcon from Yaay is also very low. He needs to be very careful with it. Keep it back, offer support in the form of reinforcing. And if they are unable to reclaim their natural VP, this is definitely a good game. It appears that Freeman is trying to with his hero, being suppressed however, and there's definitely not enough time. Good game. See you guys in game 3. Let's go ahead and take a look at the unit scores. Stigma and Yaay, or Stigma and King of Pythons being able to reclaim game 2 preventing Yaay and Freeman from a clean sweep. So it will be game 3 of the MTT